Здравствуйте, дорогие зрители! В эфире проект «Загробный мир онлайн». Этот проект направлен на то, чтобы установить информационную связь с активными субличностями и выйти с ними на контакт. Узнать, куда на самом деле попадает человек после смерти физического тела.
Проект стартовал 3 февраля 2022 года, где мы кратко обозначили цель и задачи и те команды специалистов, которые нам потребуются для эффективной работы. Итак, будут задействованы следующие команды. Команда операторов аппарата «Пирамида», группа исследователей.
Также группа психологов, команда по сбору информации.
Команда переводчиков, команда дизайнеров и монтажеров.
А также команда технической поддержки, которая будет обеспечивать онлайн-трансляцию эфиров. И команда сценаристов и ведущих для интересного общения с участниками эфира и зрителями.
А также команды высмотра и модерации эфиров на YouTube-каналах, команды по работе с текстами, редакторов, сценаристов, коммуникаторов, гримеров. В перспективе будет собрана команда на озвучку видео на разных языках.
И сейчас мы перейдем непосредственно к общению с нашими командами. Узнаем, какая уже ими проделана работа и что им необходимо, чтобы выполнять свои задачи эффективно. Что ж, давайте начнем с тех, кто будет непосредственно участвовать в эксперименте и проводить наблюдение, фиксацию и анализ полученных данных. Ребята, команда исследователей и операторов, расскажите, пожалуйста, чем вы будете заниматься в проекте.
Владимир Аксененко, даем вам слово.
Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья! Тема жизни после смерти, Здравствуйте, а меня не слышно?
Володь, слышим тебя хорошо, пожалуйста, тебе слово.
Отлично. Здравствуйте. Тема жизни после смерти, она всегда интересовала общество. Проводились различные закрытые эксперименты научным сообществом, и результаты которых для общественности были недоступны. При этом официальная наука, она не признает существование загробного мира. Поэтому нам самим очень интересно быть причастными к данному проекту и узнать правду, что происходит с человеком после смерти его физического тела. Нам нужно совместно выработать такой практический подход, чтобы показать действительное существование загробного мира. Также то, в каком состоянии находятся те умершие, которые стали субличностями. В передаче о мире духовном Игорь Михайлович Данилов рассказал, какие еще можно получать результаты при изучении невидимого мира с помощью аппарата пирамид. Это возможность энергообмена с некоторыми тенями. Тени — это энергоинформационные существа, которые обитают в высших измерениях, большинство исключительно, и которые обладают разумом. Также с помощью аппарата пирамида есть возможность воспринимать, видеть тех же кондуков. Причем можно находить их местоположение вплоть до точной геолокации, как по GPS. И это тоже весьма интересно и перспективно с точки зрения науки. То есть наши эксперименты, они будут разноплановыми. Так как в проекте принимают участие волонтеры-энтузиасты, то методология будет формироваться в процессе проведения самого эксперимента. Приглашаем зрителей к активному участию в формировании методологии эксперимента. Итак, задачи исследователей в данном проекте —
The task of researchers in this project is to make a schedule of for operators to make notes about the range of settings of the pyramid device. We already have a range of settings in which our operations will work. We received them from more experienced operators who have contacted active subpersonalities already. During the course of the project, we will experimentally define the most accurate settings of the pyramid theory individually for each operator. Each operator will be able to establish a contact with active subpersonalities with this. So, also, a task of researchers also includes collection of and analysis of information obtained during the experiment. Together with the psychologists, we're going to evaluate the operator's experience in the pyramid. During the preparation, 124 people from different countries such as Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Turkey, Russia, Germany, Belarus, Ireland, Poland, Israel, Czech Republic signed up for the research team. And now Ivana will tell us what the operator task is now and how they are preparing for the experiment.
Yes, greetings, friends. Sorry, we have technical issues. Team of operators was assembled from people who live in Kiev, as the pyramid device is located at the coordination center of ALLATRA International Public Movement in Kiev. What is the role of operator? During the research process, operators will have the opportunity to develop their practical experience in the pyramid device and improve their skills. This will enhance their competence and thereby increase the chance of reaching out. The operator needs to have the skills to control thoughts and pictures coming from the mind, to remain in the position of observer in order to exclude the possibility of creating interference from consciousness during the experiment. And of course, they shouldn't have any contradictions for operations in the pyramid device, such as claustrophobia, epilepsy, and also the operator shouldn't have a cardiac stimulant in his body. And when entering pyramid, it is important to leave all the metal objects outside. Another essential point is that the operator, after making contact with subpersonality, that is, with the consciousness of a deceased person, should not put attention into the memory of this contact after the end of the live broadcast. Otherwise, the subpersonality he has contacted would be fed with his vital energy and thereby would get the ability to manifest in the life of the operator after the live broadcast. This feature is important not only for operators but also for the viewers, so as not to attract negativity into their lives with their own attention.
Yes, human attention is the main tool, and it is essential to learn how to manage it. Thank you. Are there any preliminary practices in order to acquire these skills?
Yes, of course. Each operator is experienced in spiritual and meditative practices such as autogenic training, the jog, and четверик, described in the books by Anastasia Novakh, meaning the experience of the spiritual observer. The operator team consists, for today, 80 people. Together with the researchers, a schedule was drawn up for the work of operators and researchers. Right now, we show it on the screen. We formed 10 groups, operators and researchers, who will work in order during one broadcast 2 operators will participate, and 3-4 researchers in the studio. The rest will be online, and the group of research will work with a certain group of operators, which will give opportunity to effectively observe the growth of operators during the experiment.
Вот такая работа была проделана нами. Спасибо.
All right, thank you very much. Right, thank you. So, and now we pass the floor to psychology. Natalia Motovila from Ukraine is online now with us. Hello, Natalia.
Hello. The Other World project is one of the kind in the official science of psychology. This, of course, complicates our tasks, but makes our participation in the experiment even more interesting. As practicing psychologists, we often face manifestations that classical psychology can't explain. And when we came to know about the project The Other World online, we realized that it can help a lot with finding answers to the questions that still worry us. Moreover, we are confident that these studies can have a powerful impetus to the development of psychology and psychiatry, and can become a frontline trend in these sciences in the upcoming years. Previously, there were already bold scientists who raised questions before official science that our world is not limited to what we see and hear, that there is something beyond our usual perception. Every person asks the question, what awaits me after death? And we are grateful for the opportunity to take part in the project and find answers to all these questions. The task of psychologists in the project are to get to know the operators, to diagnosticate them before they gain experience in the pyramid, in order to detect if there are any contraindications for participating in the project as an operator. And in the course of the experiment, find out what the operator saw, felt, in what state he was while staying in the pyramid. Whether the psychological state of the operator changes as he participates in the project. Since the study is new, it is obvious to us that it is necessary to develop new methods of research, processing and analysis of the obtained data. We understand that this study is designed for years, and we ourselves will grow as professionals along with the project. Thank you. Thank you. We have already gathered a team of psychologists, where we are pleased to invite other specialists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, those who are interested in this study and who like to join this project. Gathering information is one of the key tasks of preparing for the broadcasts. Representatives of the team that collects information will tell us more. Tatiana Petrushak, good evening. Please tell us about this important aspect.
Greetings, dear friends. Of course, for our broadcast to be interesting and engaging, it is really important such direction as search of information. Our team will search for information, analyze information concerning reincarnation, near-death experience, the invisible world, as well as world traditions associated with the cult of burial and commemoration of the dead. In each broadcast, we will show you interesting cases in world history, scientific evidence and facts of this subject, confirmed by the speeches of scientists and eyewitness. We also collect information about different people's attitudes towards life after death. During the live broadcasts, we will provide our viewers with materials that already exist in the public domain. And further, Tatiana Pritulenko will tell us more.
Thank you, Tatiana. Hello, friends. We have already formed a small team that works intensively on selected subjects in different directions. We are working to convey information in an accessible and interesting way. We also work to bring all the information in interesting and acceptable way and find all the answers for the question what awaits us after death of the physical body. The process of searching for information is very interesting and exciting. It helps to expand, first of all, your understanding of these issues and share your discoveries with others. We look forward to adding to our team and see you on the air.
Thank you very much. We invite viewers to write your questions in the comments with topics of interest to you, which we could reveal in the next broadcast and we will answer them. You can also send your questions and stories to the email of the Shadow Control Project, shadowcontrol2020@gmail.com.
Another very important area that help us to convey information to an international audience is a team of translators who right now are performing simultaneous translation into different languages live.
Greetings.
Hello.
Interpreters transmit information, making it available to a wide range of people. Our team translates text for videos, pictures, and intros.
Our team also does live interpretation during the live broadcast into several foreign languages. This allows us to spread the information globally and in real time, and it allows viewers from other countries to understand what is happening in the studio.
Yes, the topic of the other world will be especially interesting for Spanish-speaking countries, Latin America. In these countries, the cult of Santa Muerte is widely developed, which is closely connected and intertwined with the culture of peoples. Also, this topic is relevant for all countries where a cult of honoring the dead is alive.
We have a new team, and some of us tried to take part in simultaneous interpreting for the first time. But for all of us, this type of activity is very interesting and very developing, let's say. So we are looking forward to new live broadcasts and, of course, to adding of our tight-knit team. Thank you.
Thank you. We need a team of designers and editors to prepare video materials and previews. Let's hear what has already been done in these areas. Anastasia, please.
Добрый вечер.
Good evening. We are a tiny team of designers and editors. We are all ready to achieve set goals. Designers are currently developing the overall style of the project and are preparing previews for broadcasts. And the high quality of the content that will be shown to the audience is provided by our editors. They try to make it exciting, interesting, and informative. Please join. We welcome new people and we are open to fresh ideas. Together with you, we can do much more. Thank you. Thank you. Our technical support is the team without which no broadcast would take place. This team faces many different technical issues and tasks that need to be addressed both in the preparation of the broadcast and during the broadcast. Since our technical team is now providing the air, and thanks to them you can now hear and see us, we will present them ourselves.
Yes, with pleasure. So, the technical team is comprised of people from video operators, sound communicators, streaming servers, Zoom administrators, video editing. So this is a close-knit team who are interested in implementing complex technical solutions, especially during live broadcasts. And this project is very interesting in this regard. We will try to implement all the most daring ideas of the project participants so that our broadcast viewers will be as interested to the most, and it will be interesting and informative to everyone.
Kostya and I are not the only hosts of this project. To date, we have gathered a host team of 15 people. But since the broadcasts will be released every weekday, and 2 hosts will participate on each broadcast, we would like to recruit a team of 20 people for loose participation in the project.
The role of host is interesting and exciting. It includes preparing for the broadcast, getting to know new information, moderating of the broadcast, communicating with viewers and invited guests. This requires both correctness of speech and the ability to, upkeep the conversation going and resourcefulness. So for the participants who have not tried themselves in this role before, we plan to conduct workshops and trainings.
The team that sets the theme of the broadcast is the screenwriters. Kristina Khodoreva will tell us more about their participation. Please.
Thank you. Greetings, friends. The team thinks up the story or topic for each broadcast, organizes and collects materials, prepares texts and summarizes for the hosts. The team tries to make it interesting for you to watch the broadcast. We have already begun writing the script for the first broadcast, where the viewer will get acquainted with information about human energy structure. So, if you are interested in this kind of creative activity, we will be glad to see you in a script writing team. Join us, friends!
Дорогие зрители, мы приглашаем вас к участию.
We invite you to participate in our live broadcast. This is our common project, and for us, your participation is very important, and so that you could share your ideas, suggestions, and questions.
Please get contacted with Zoom link below this video or with the QR code on your screen. When accessing Zoom, please enter your name, country and city, and please connect with your camera on.
Alright, so we are moving on, and let us find out what our friends from other countries think about the project. Buenos dias, amigos. Friends, please, tell us, do people in your country believe in life after death? And what are the traditions associated with it in your country? Please.
Hola, Kostya. Gracias por tus preguntas.
Greetings, Kostya. Thank you so much for your question. In my country, Ecuador, in some areas, mainly in the Andean region, the indigenous cosmic vision of our Quechua ancestors has been preserved, which says that when a person dies, he does not die. That is, when he dies, his physical body stops its existence in the dimension of Caipacha, but he passes into another life, in Chauchukpacha, in other world, which is an earthly paradise, and it's located in the bowels, womb of Pachamama. So the idea arose that he returns to Mother Earth and that the living could communicate with them using asuwa, commonly called chicha, which is the ritual funeral drink of the people, made from fermented yellow corn, panela and green lemon leaves. This drink is consumed exclusively in November or on funerals of adult people and is considered the favorite drink of the dead, which will become the food given as an offering so that the dead do not be angry or sad at those who are still alive, and in this way they could communicate and even beg mercy or ask for favors from their souls. However, it was during colonial times that customs took a turn. Different versions emerged, such as the enigmatic guaguas de pan, which are figures in the shape of a human body made from bread. Along with this, the traditional drink of asuba was also changed in favor of colada morada, a drink made from black corn and sweet fruits, attributing to it the divine secret of the blood of Christ, which will accompany the body of the deceased on his way to purgatory. Among the most common beliefs, there is also a belief in the angel of death, who comes with the thighs to cut the silver thread of a dying person, taking the soul, the seven judges of karma, and there, based on the scales that measure which weight good and bad deeds, they decide whether they reborn the soul again to break the cycle of reincarnations. It is also believed that if your dead relatives visit you in a dream, then something bad will happen. They miss you or they need to say something, so it is customary that if this happens, then you must definitely go to the grave to leave flowers, light a candle, and accompany the entrance to their new home for a moment. Despite this, it is still customary in cemeteries to hold large feasts at the graves and exchange salty and sweet food to the sounds or rhythms of great chants, recreating the social commandment to give, receive, and return amidst weeping and joys. The ritual of existing food at the graves of one's relatives can last up to 2 hours, and it considers as gratitude to the living who buried the souls of the dead, present at the moment in a cemetery, so they would return joyful and stay in their new world. It can also be said that the cult of death has spread to the different religions of Latin America, being very similar and taking an important place in everyday life, in folk art, in holidays, and eccentric rites, while in many other countries it may be seen as a somewhat mockable, meaning dark, act to dance in mockery of death. In Latin America culture, there is a connection between life and death that cannot be separated, and so we find crying and farewells, which also become parties and celebrations. You can also find carnivals that serve as an analogy for how fleeting life is, rites dedicated to the memory of the dead, or marzipan amulets as physical souvenirs. Death is central to Latin America culture. Perhaps this is because the reality of Spanish is invaded daily by acts of violence that is some way normalize their presence on a day-to-day basis. Despite this, the vitality of these customs is often aimed at throwing away painful goodbyes to celebrate the hope of a resurrection on a better life in the other world. And right now, our next speaker will say more about this culture and rituals. Oscar, we give you the floor.
Hola, gracias Erika.
Hello, thank you, Erika.
Muchas gracias a todos. Bueno, mi nombre es Oscar.
Thank you very much, everyone. I am from Mexico, and I will tell you about the Holy Death. I'm a participant of ALLATRA International from Mexico, and I'm pleased to take part in this project. So, what is Santa Muerte in Mexico? Santa Muerte, Holy Death. Muerte is a popular Mexican figure representing death and being an object of worship. In various churches, such as Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodologies, and Anglican and others, its veneration is rejected and condemned, as they consider it a devilish holiday, celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, when masses and rosaries, pilgrimages and prayers are held by millions of devoted followers in honor of the great day. It is believed that Santa Marta collects benefits along with life. The cult of death that dates into 1795, when the indigenous people worshipped a skeleton they called death in the village central Mexico, and this is evidence that this cult remained hidden for the last 2 centuries. So, how is Santa Marta celebrated? Music, dancing, and alcohol are almost always present. In fact, it is a folk festival. It incorporates customs from social and local environment. What power does Santa Marta have? For her followers, Santa Marta is an entity with great healing power, which brings prosperity and is also an ally in revenge when a person wants to take revenge on somebody. Some ask for permanent resident certificates, lowers health protection against violent drugs, hotels, immigration agents.
Con dañar a las personas.
So, her procedures on the day of Mexico, Santa Marta in Mexico.
Continuamos ahora con el Día de los Muertos. El Día de los Muertos básicamente
For some people, it means being close to their already deceased loved ones.
México para unos significa.
For others, it's synonymous with celebration, and for some, it is simply business.
Es el sinónimo de fiestas. Para otros es solo un negocio. El Día de Muertos.
The Day of the Dead is a Mexican tradition that is celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, when the dead are honored. It originated as a result of a merger of Catholic holidays and various customs of the indigenous peoples of Mexico. These days, altars of the dead are set up with flowers and food, remembering their loved ones who have passed on to the afterlife. The main items that decorate the altars are candles, salt, incense, sugar skulls, traditional pan de muerte, bread of the dead, and marigold flowers. Now, based on the information given to us by Igor Mikhailovich Danilov, we know that this is just a tradition, since the truth about the dead and life after death is completely different. This is a topic that needs to be touched upon, told to everyone, because if we can understand it, we will know ourselves, and it is most fundamental for spiritual development of a person. We should have more videos where we could share this understanding again and again. This is very important. Thanks to Igor Mikhailovich Danilov, we have a much better understanding of this topic. So, subpersonalities, who are they? They're us. This is what we turn into at the moment of death of our bodies. A subpersonality is neither alive nor dead. It joins the shell of the soul, so to speak. The other side, the outer part of the soul, and it is not reborn. Only the soul goes to reincarnation with all the subpersonalities. Every moment the subpersonality waits the final death, the second death, which for them is hell, a place of torment and agony, so to speak. Knowing the truth, we will not do anything bad to achieve that. Subpersonalities stand in the way of a person's spiritual development. This interferes with the personality since this is the only way of existence of some kind of new life. It is an excruciating suffering, but still, it is life for the subpersonality. Thank you. Thank you for letting me take the floor, and please proceed to the next speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. And now let's skip from Latin America to Europe. Guten Abend, Benjamin.
Hallo Freunde. Wir haben uns
Hello, friends.
im deutschsprachigen Raum mit dem Thema
We discussed the topic of commemoration of the dead
über die Traditionen sprechen, die hier
in German-speaking countries.
und der Denkweise der
And I would like to talk about the traditions
religiöse Feiertage,
that have took root in the culture and mentality of the local people.
Feiertage gelten, an denen man den Toten gedenkt. Das ist der frohe Leichnam
The religious holidays,
und aller Seelen, aller Heiligen und der Toten Sonntag,
which in some federal states are even considered as a public holidays, on which the dead are commemorated. These are the feasts of Corpus of Christi in June, and All Souls Day, All Saints Day, and Sunday of the Dead in November.
Selbst Atheisten versuchen, den Glauben
So, as we see, it is predominantly November. This time is also known as the time of sorcerers. This is the time of the year when the dark forces are gathering strength for the whole year. This is described in detail in the video about magic with Igor Mikhailovich Danilov.
Und sprechen ihr Grabgebet. Dabei zündet man Kerzen.
Even atheists try to keep their faith and connection with their deceased relatives and feel obligated to support their family on memorial days. Families gather at the grave on birthdays of the dead and on other days of their death, lay grave goods and say funeral prayers. Candles are lit to pray for the protection of the family. There is also belief that the dead watch over them from above and act as guardian angels. Therefore, the cemetery is an important place of remembrance and meeting for the family.
Wo man sich vorab einen Baum kaufen kann, für sich oder die ganze Familie, und dann
Photographs of deceased relatives and souvenirs are often kept in homes to preserve their memory and ease the pain of loss. Recently, burial in the so-called cemetery forest has come into fashion, where you can buy a tree in advance for yourself or the whole family, and then bury the ashes into a biodegradable urn at the roots of a tree.
Ebenfalls zu einem sehr lukrativen Geschäft geworden. Einen Menschen nach Vorschrift und Tradition beerdigen zu können in Deutschland kostet zwischen 2.000 und 35.000 Euro. Dazu kommen noch jährliche Nutzungsgebühren von 360 bis 3.500 Euro, um sich den Platz auf dem Friedhof zu sichern. Das Angebot an Medien
photographs of deceased relatives and souvenirs are kept in homes, as I said. In addition, artists and craftsmen come up with unusual urn designs. There are artists who are very successful in the business, such as urns are also available for funeral homes. Funerals itself, like everything else in the consumer business, have also become very lucrative. To bury a person in accordance with the rules and traditions in Germany, it costs from 2,000 to 35,000 euros. In addition, an annual fee of 340 or 3,500 euros are charged for a place in the cemetery. The range of mediums and intermediaries who promise to contact the deceased is huge. If a person cannot cope with the loss alone and cannot let go of the deceased, then there is an opportunity to contact him directly. To do this, there are many online and private services where you can contact the deceased for money. Everything suggests that our culture has an ingrained need to maintain this connection with the dead. At the same time, people live as if there is no life after death. They strive for pleasure, wealth, dominance, and status while they're alive, and after them come deluge. But if they still know the dead, somehow to do completely die, then what is this life for, and how and for what purpose should it be lived?
Dankeschön, Benjamin. And right now we are moving
Thank you,
to the
Benjamin.
United States. We have with us
And right
Dr. Jeffrey Long. Jeffrey, we're happy to have you with us. Jeffrey, you have studied many cases of near-death experience. Can you please share with us some of the results, and is there life after death? Jeffrey, please unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. Try again.
All right, we got it. Well, hello, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to participate in this important conference. By way of introduction, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Long. I am a physician who has been doing research in near-death experience and life after death for over 20 years. My previous research was published in the New York Times best-selling book, Evidence of the Afterlife, the Science of Near-Death Experiences. Last year, the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies conducted an international essay contest for the best evidence that there really is life after death. And I was honored to be one of the winners, selected out of over 1,000 essays that were submitted in this contest. So, in conclusion, my research and the research of many others has convinced me that our human consciousness absolutely continues after bodily death. Based on evidence, there is life after death. There really is an afterlife, a wonderful afterlife for all of us. Thus far in human history, we have been unable to consistently communicate with those who have died. And given all this, I am delighted to hear about this new pyramid research involving efforts to obtain information from the deceased. This is important, groundbreaking research. If it is possible to receive information, or especially even to communicate with people who have died, this would be one of the most important discoveries in human history. What we don't know about communication with the deceased far outweighs what we do know. Thus, it is especially important to conduct this type of research we're discussing today, and I certainly hope that this research is as successful and as historical as we're all hoping. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Джеффри. Тема смерти и
Thank you very
жизни.
much, Jeffrey. So the topic of life and death is
Сейчас
curious
посмотрим
all
ролик и
over the world.
послушаем мнение людей
So
из
now let
разных
us watch
стран.
the video and listen to various opinions of people all around the world about this topic.
There are almost 8 billion people living now on Earth. And there is an important question that will affect everyone. What happens after death? What do you think?
I think that when a person dies, his spirit goes out because the body dies first. The body dies and the spirit goes out. If the Holy Spirit was in him, I think that he will go into eternity.
If you are dissatisfied with what you have experienced for yourself, so to speak, then you incarnate, say, within 1 millisecond in another vessel, and then you take other tasks with you.
I don't really believe in spirituality. I do not believe in the soul. I think that the physical body, which is actually mortal, is really all we are in this world. There is nothing else that can continue after death.
They test like all your good deeds against the weight of a feather, and if somehow the feather is more heavier than that, then you don't pass.
Some turn into guardian angels, who knows? Some are reborn, some come into this world who had not managed to accomplish some deeds, maybe in a past life. They come back here and accomplish them.
Our body gets transformed and breaks down into atoms and transforms into some other kinds of energy. But thought itself is an electrical impulse, and no one really knows when I will die. This electrical impulse, all these connections, what form will they take?
I believe that we are composed of energy, and energy is never destroyed, just merely transformed. But the spiritual stories that are being promoted by the big religions, for me, are simply not credible. I have to mention that what I studied in university is mathematics, so it's very hard to convince me of something you cannot prove.
It'd be super cool if there was like a whole thing, you know, and there was like paradise and like there's like a good jacuzzi, you know, and like whatever. I don't really know what that looks like.
There are many opinions, but do we want to know what will really happen?
I guess is the ultimate question. So I feel like we should try not to be as afraid as we are.
I feel like if more people knew about or believed in the afterlife, you know, the way I do, I don't think people would be as afraid to live their lives.
Oh my God, I question myself every time I fall into a major episode of depression.
I don't know how that, but I want to know about that. What happens after life? Is that real? Afterlife is real or not? What will we do?
Of course I wanted to. Many people want to, because, well, you live, you think, you gather some knowledge, your head functions all the time. I can't imagine how I can go ahead and stop thinking.
In my opinion, like, we don't know enough about like what a soul is, or what consciousness is, for us to like predict what can come after death.
I think that everyone would like to know what exactly will happen to them, but no one knows that. It's a secret.
I'm still sort of open-minded about these things.
What I would like to know most of all is whether I will be good. I'm thinking about what I give here, on Earth, to people. Will I ever receive it back?
Maybe people would be more cautious if they knew there was something else once they die.
I think people definitely take it more seriously or be more intentional with the way they live.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I feel like if you know there's something after, then you have a kind of goal to work towards or to live your life towards that. And
Can't do without it. The way a person lives his life in this world is what he will be responsible for in that world. If we knew about it, we wouldn't have lived like this.
Yes, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to know that? For it's a great mystery to this humankind.
Yes. Yeah, it would be nice to know.
It's interesting and curious to explore, and probably there have been experiments like this.
It's a question I've asked myself many times, but I've never really come up with anything I'm really confident about. I'm not particularly religious, but I still believe that it would not make any sense that when we die, it would just end our lives. Because we spend 70-80 years building something up and then we pass away and nothing happens anymore.
Everyone should know that this time on Earth comes to an end. So we should think about what the future holds for us.
After the physical body dies? Yes, I would like to. I think that would be interesting to everyone.
Yes, I would like to know. We just have a truth that the world shows us. That our life ends when the body dies. So besides this truth, I would like to know what happens to me after I die.
It would be better if we knew, then we could prepare ourselves better for it. So I think it would be good if we knew this, because then we would have no fear of death.
I'd like to hear opinions of friends from other places of the world, and I also want to get more knowledge and understanding in this area.
Absolutely. Like if you had a really sure idea of what life, whatever we conceive of life as, is for, and a really clear idea of what whatever happens after life is, I think you would go through life with just so much more clarity, which would be fantastic.
I think if you will ask anyone in this world, I think 99% of them will say yes, they want to know.
Definitely, because if I knew for sure I had an afterlife, I probably would do things different.
Дорогие зрители, сейчас на экране вы видите QR-код.
Dear friends, now you can see QR code in your screen, so now you can connect and ask your questions online.
Реализуется самими людьми. Для нас очень важно
This
с нашими зрителями.
project is volunteering, and it's very important for us to connect to our viewers. And now I would like to read some comments under the program. Here is the question. How can you understand that you are influenced by subpersonality, by the system, or by the third side?
Yes, very interesting question. And while our viewers are connecting with us and asking questions online, I will actually start. I will try to answer this question. So, the third forces, yes, this is kind of like a presence, invisible presence right near you. And the system is actually attacking the picture, person through the picture. All right, so...
Yes, thank you, Kostya. Let's see another questions from our viewers.
Осуществляться безопасность оператора и какие опасности могут его поджидать?
How the operator can be secure and what can threaten him during this experiment? Maybe some operators from our studio can answer this question. Guys, be active who are in Zoom and you will be put in the screen.
Я могу повторить вопрос, если...
I can repeat the question.
Как будет осуществляться безопасность оператора?
How the security of the operator will be maintained and which threats can await him?
Я знаю, что...
Если можно попробовать.
If I may, I can try.
Yes, sure.
All right. So first of all, the pyramid device itself is actually a unique device, one of a kind,
с помощью которого и будет происходить
thanks to which we will be able to actually to make this contact. The operator will be able to make the contact with consciousness and of the deceased person, and surely the important role in this plays, the working of operators on himself, be able to track the secondary consciousness, be able to differentiate, to separate from one's secondary consciousness and proceed to the state of the observer. So the task of the operator is the preservation of the processes that will continue during the experiment itself. After the exit of the operator out of the pyramid device, he actually just describes what we have observed during the experiment without any fantasies, without any, thinking, inventing of thoughts. This is just a constatation of facts. Subsequently, the researcher and psychologist will be able to conduct a joint analysis of this information and make appropriate conclusions. Thank you.
Можно я тоже буквально чуть-чуть добавлю?
I also would like to add.
Спасибо. Но, как уже сказали в начале,
Thank you. As it was noted before, for operator, it's very important to have skills of working with meditations as jog, autogenic training, and четверик. Operator should be able to separate the images and thoughts from consciousness and be in the mode of observer. And after the experiment itself, it is really important not to have memories of the past experiment. Operator must be able to correctly direct the power of his attention. In general, like every person, operator has such experience. In the process of experiment, we will definitely see the growth of operators themselves. Therefore, the power of attention of each person and operator as well, it is very important. And if we won't put the attention during the day after the experiment, if we won't put attention to the past, there is no threats in general. As we all know, it's better to put attention in something good.
Спасибо, Лена. У нас есть также
комментарий, вопрос. We also have a commentary and a question. From the other side, probably fierce competition, to get to the operator who has a living force. So, what is the strength of spirit and help of the spiritual world? So, Ola, what do you think? Is there a really fierce competence to get into contact with the operator?
Sure, it's a life energy for them, so they are very interested to contact and get this additional energy.
Yes, indeed.
Let's see another questions we have. For example, here we have a question maybe for operators. How many years of work with mentioned practices do you need, and how can you check the result? Which operator would like to answer this question? You can put your hand up in Zoom and you will be put into the screen. And while we are waiting for the answers, I want to remind our viewers that you can connect through Zoom by the link under this video. Put your name and put your camera on.
Никто не хочет ответить на этот вопрос, может, мы тогда ответим. Да, пожалуйста.
Можно дополню, пока все молчат, получается...
Yes, I can share. So the question was, how many years operators should work with meditation techniques? So here it's important to understand not how many years a person works, but the quality of work, the experience of distinguishing the thoughts and images coming from the mind and the mode of observer.
Thank you for the commentary of the answer. So we have a question: is there any danger of the viewers during this experiment? What precautions they should take? I will probably actually answer this question that, dear viewers, we actually raised the topic of control of our attention. So it is vitally important to control your attention, not to invest, and especially not to, be all emotional.
Let's see which more questions we have.
Есть ли опасность для зрителей этого эксперимента?
If there is any threat for the viewers. Sorry, you have already asked this question.
Another question we have from Larissa. She's also a viewer. Is it possible that more than one personality will get into contact with the operator? Maybe one of our operators or researchers would like to answer this. It seems to me that the experiment will show everything.
Sure, it will.
Actually, we are doing this for the first time. I mean, in this part of the team, with this new team, and as Danilov has said during the video about the spiritual world, the experiment operators have already made contact with the other world using the pyramid device. But during this experiment, and precisely, in particular in this composition, we will do it for the first time. And actually, we do not know what we will encounter and what kind of, manifestation of the invisible world we will be dealing with. So altogether with us, we will, obtain this experience anew.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Valeria.
Thank you. Here I have found an interesting question. How do operators cope with the fear of all unnatural? If we have anyone who wants to answer, please. If not,
if I may, I can try. Okay, so what is actually any manifestation of the invisible world? This is a manifestation of the system, but how do we cope with manifestations of fear in our consciousness? First of all, by ignoring them. We are trying to keep, the dominant of the positive part of us, so the dominant of the spiritual component in us. Therefore, if an operator is able to cope with his or her fears that are imposed on him by his consciousness, or by some obstacles and so on, he can actually use the same skill during the experiment while in the pyramid device. And certainly, by perceiving that any manifestation, whatever it is, of the invisible world is actually the manifestation of the system that acts through consciousness. And therefore, again, we go back to the security issue. And first of all, the security of the operator is his ability to separate from the secondary consciousness and being able to be in the state of the spiritual observer. And in this state, no fears will go through, And also, another point I think which is important is motivation, because what we are doing in this project, in this experiment of studying the invisible world, it can actually give a lot to people. And Jeffrey Long, I think, made a key point here that, it is by being able to prove the existence of the invisible world thanks to the pyramid device, this will give a lot to society, to people, they will be able to reconsider their views on life. They can actually change their lives, live them differently. So this motivation in helping people, I think, is above all fears. Thank you.
Спасибо за твой такой
Thank you,
интересный
Valeria, for
расширенный
your
ответ.
very
Дальше идем по вопросу, который задают нам наши
extended
зрители.
answer,
Задает
and we will
зритель
proceed to the
Дмитрий.
next
Как
question.
оператор
Dmitry,
компенсирует
a viewer,
потерю
also
жизненной
asked a
энергии
question:
во
how
время
does the
сеанса?
operator compensate the loss of the vital energy during the session? Oля,
it's
what
a
do you
good
think?
question.
сделана таким образом, что она повторяет
As pyramid is made
энергетическую
the
конструкцию
way that
человека,
it
она будет компенсировать,
corresponds the energetic
она будет
structure of the
компенсировать вот
man,
эти
it
вот
will
энергозатраты,
compensate
энергопотери
this
человека,
loss of energy
когда
of the
он
man
контактирует с субличностью.
when he contacts his subpersonality.
Как уже говорили наши операторы, да,
As our operators have already told,
команда операторов очень
when they represent the team of operators,
не
it's
вкладывать
very
в это больше
important
внимания.
after the contact of subpersonality
Внимание туда,
not to input their attention into these things, because where we put our attention, we put our
Интересный тоже вопрос нам задает
life energy.
зритель Николай.
Another interesting question our viewer Nikolai asks, and I think it's very important to answer it. So, question: how do operators got this knowledge? Your friends were happily answer this. This knowledge was they obtained from the videos with Igor Mikhailovich Danilov.
Большое за такой хороший вопрос.
Yes, thanks for it was a good question.
Следующий. Очень много вопросов.
Which question we can ask? There are too many questions now.
Пожалуй, есть вопрос у нас
I'll probably
от
proceed.
Ирины.
Okay, so another question is from Irina. She asks, will they contact subpersonalities of ordinary people or celebrities? Actually, it's an interesting question too. So, as it was already mentioned today, we are just starting the experiment, and the operators will receive their experience for the first time, and they will get in contact with, the one they will be able to.
And also, I would like to add that we will contact mainly the active subpersonalities and those who have recently passed away. Like this, we will have some proof base, and we could check this information and prove that we have contacted recently dead person.
Another question that the viewers write is, can we actually get into contact with Dr. Garayev, the scientist? Well, dear viewers, the experiment will show. We will see.
I want to remind our viewers, maybe someone is trying to connect us. QR code is on our screen. You can put your mobile near and you can put through to ask your question online and ask your question. We will be pleased to hear it. And now we will see which more question can be interesting for you.
Может ли выйти не одна субличность? Лариса задает
Can
вопрос.
it possible to contact not one subpersonality? If you mean that you can contact simultaneously several subpersonalities.
Well, actually, it's an interesting question, because probably, you could be able to contact an active subpersonality, and at the same time, the one that will be more captive. But again, we will say that since the experiment is conducted for the first time, by practical way, we will be able to check this, and we will be able to tell you during our live broadcasts when our esteemed operators will make contact.
Yes, by making experiments, we will get to know about this while our programs.
Another question is from Larissa. Is there a plan to invite ministers of different confessions? Well, actually, we will be quite happy because we are interested in the experience of Nagas who deal with the energy of the dead and so on. So this will all be conducted during the next live broadcast.
We invite everyone who wants to participate in the project. It doesn't matter what your profession is. Please come, join, and we will make experiments together. We will get answers by experimenting. Okay, what other questions do we have? Let's see. What are the tasks of operator? How should he communicate with subpersonality? How will he understand it? Will it be just on the side of feelings? It's a good question. The work will be on the stage of sensations. Our operator will go out to the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. Those dimensions can communicate just non-verbally. It will be with feelings.
Another question. So probably during live broadcast should not be shown to the children. Well, actually, the information field we have right now, there is a lot of destructive information already. Therefore, kids should be shown better positive videos, okay?
Nadezhda asks us the next question. Will it be the subpersonality of the operator, or it will be the subpersonality which will not be connected to operator? I know the answer to this question. We are interested in subpersonalities that don't belong to operator, because with the help of the secondary consciousness, operator can contact his own subpersonalities through our thoughts. During this experiment, the operator will try to contact with subpersonalities of other people.
Another interesting question is from audience. How will the information from the subpersonality be checked? The one that the operator got into contact with. Well, actually, the information that the operator will receive in the pyramid device from the personality, subpersonality, can be double-checked through relatives.
Thank you for your question. And I know that somebody put his hand up in Zoom. Maybe someone wants to add in Zoom. Please, Igor.
Yes, hello, friends. I actually wanted to make an addition to the answer earlier, how the operator can be, feel safe after leaving the pyramid device. I would like to add that besides being in the state of observer, we are also telling about that the person who does spiritual practices, he should constantly practice the continuous contact with the spiritual world on the level of feelings. And this is one of the most important things, because the intention of the person cannot be just somewhere. It cannot be, in the middle of something. So any person who is aspiring on the spiritual path should engage in spiritual practices and, maintain this contact with the spiritual world through their soul, and because this is the only way how he can be safe and secure, and also during contacts with subpersonalities that he might have to contact during the experiment. Thank you, guys.
Да, спасибо.
Yes, thank you.
Следующий вопрос, который задает нам зритель.
Another question that Victor, the viewer, also asks is, so, good evening, I have a question. After that, how long can one make contact with the subpersonality? After what?
Yeah, it's a nice question. It's important that subpersonality is active. Best of all is a recently passed away person, and maybe a soul which is already reincarnated and entered the child. But the child till 5-7 years.
Yeah, 5-7 years.
Так. Кто-то поднял руку в Zoom. Давайте послушаем, кто
Somebody raised hand in Zoom, so let's listen to them.
Greetings. I would like to add, regarding the question, how operators will receive the information, how we will make sure that the operators are not actors, how we will know that it's true. There is a whole huge group of researchers and psychologists which will submit all the information that operators will share, and they will also check if the information that given by operator is adequate, and a group of researchers will already be directly involved in checking the data by different methods, and we will convey more information about it in the next broadcasts.
Спасибо, Оля.
Thank you, Oля.
Интересный вопрос задал Макс. Как быть
An
с
interesting
языковым барьером
question
между
was asked by
оператором
Max.
и субличностью?
How to be with the language barrier between the operator and subpersonality?
Great question, because there are not too much languages actually. Actually, this is not the verbal language that is important, but the feeling contact, okay?
Thank you, Kostya. We have a person, Anna Svitenko. She raised her hand in Zoom.
Yes, greetings. I would like to add regarding the question how operator will understand if he contacted with a subpersonality or not. Here, it is important to distinguish those flow of thoughts that comes from a subpersonality to separate your own thoughts from the images that comes from subpersonality. And of course, at this time, operator will needs to be in a state of peace and love. Direct contact with the spiritual world will be, and this connection will be maintained. I think in this case everything will be just fine. And of course, if he will start putting more attention to the subpersonality, there is a chance that he will spend his life energy on this. But this is my understanding. Of course, pyramid helps, but the spiritual work of operator on himself also plays a great role. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you a lot. Thanks. We have one more interesting question from Olga. What will be the questions to subpersonalities?
Well, probably I will answer this question because this is a kind of like little. We had kind of like an answer to this. An important point here is that it is important to make contact with the personality, and therefore it will actually give answers by itself, because the key point here is attention, as we mentioned, because attention is fuel for the existence, and the attention of the operator is the key point here. So we should just go in and get the intention in that.
Thank you, Kostet, for making it clear for us. Konstantin wants to ask, how to know that this subpersonality is active? I would like to say that you can't miss this because it will be very active. And furthermore, in our experiments during our direct transmissions, you will be able to check it because we will know it with the help of experiments.
Another question from Tatiana with two questions. Will there be random subpersonalities, so through the image they will contact a certain person? Okay, probably I will answer this. Okay, the key point here is to make contact first, because operators will receive their first experience during this project, and for the operator, this experience is very important. It's just start to learn how to make this.
The operator will gain experience, and during our attars, experiments and repetitions, they will become better and get professional growth, and we will observe it. Thank you. So we have one more question. Good evening. Can it happen that connection to subpersonality be planned? My father passed away 6 months away, but he is very active and come to me in my dream mares. Who would like to answer this question? Maybe someone from those who are in Zoom. If you want, raise your hand.
Yes, please, our operators or researchers.
I can say, meanwhile, from myself, our operators have experience of meditative practices, but they will contact subpersonality first time in the pyramid, and we will observe how will they develop, if they will manage with the task or not, and with time we will be able to answer if we can contact specific subpersonality or not. I think that someone wanted to add.
Спасибо большое за вопрос.
Yes, if I may.
На самом
Thank you very
деле,
much for the
в
question.
одной из передач
Actually, during one of the broadcasts, Igor Mikhailovich Danilov
информацию, что
actually voiced this information that the closer
последние времена, тем
the end
чаще
of days, the end times, the more often
мертвые будут пытаться выходить на
will
контакт
the dead be trying to make contact with the living.
мое мнение, что
And in my opinion,
относиться к этому
to treat this,
вкладывать внимание.
we shouldn't invest attention into it. So the less attention we invest attention to such manifestations of the other world,
для нас живых.
the safer it is for us as alive. Because for those diseases, it is our attention which is important. And Igor Mikhailovich Danilov in the video about the spiritual world that said that we should actually be afraid more of the dead than alive, because the dead can do much harm to the living person than any living person to another living person. So, I mean, the most reliable thing is not to invest attention to this and to treat this as any thought that is, just imposed by one's consciousness. So we should just ignore it and switch to the positive things, to love, to permanent contact with the spiritual world. And then nothing otherworldly will be able to get us.
Thank you, Volodya.
Дорогие зрители, спасибо вам также большое за то, что проявляете активность. В нашем чате поступает очень много вопросов. Мы искренне благодарны вам за это. Следующий вопрос.
Thank you very much for all the questions.
Как удостовериться, что
another question from Alona is how can we actually define that the operators are not actors and it's not just scams? Probably a lot of viewers will be interested to hear the answer to this question. So, dear viewers, for all of this to be reliable and transparent, all the broadcasts you will be watching, these are all live broadcasts that conducted, in real time. At the moment, about 80 operators have already registered to the experiment, and every operator, after leaving the device, will give answers or information that they have heard during the contact with the personality, and it will be given live. So during the live broadcasts, not at the current.
Thank you, Kostya. I would also want to add that operators will try to contact the active subpersonalities of recently died people. So we could see the result of this information because we have a research team who will, I think, check the information the operator got during the contact. And also we have the team of psychologists who will use their professional skills to make decision if an operator had the contact with subpersonality or not.
Знаешь, вот тоже интересный вопрос задаю зрительница. Может ли женщина быть оператором или есть разница?
From the viewers, can a woman be an operator and is there a difference? I will probably answer this too. Actually, a woman has 300 times more sensitivity than a man. But again, the key point here is how sincere and how diligently, how systematically does the operator work on themselves. A man can also be a good operator, but again, in addition that he actually works on himself. Really good question.
Sure.
Вот еще такой вопрос от Марины.
One more question from Marina. Will magicians take part in the experiments as operators? Or you need to have the practice of meditations? For sure, I would like to say that different people take part in the experiments. Even magicians who has experience of communication with the world of dead, they can give much interesting information.
Okay, so maybe a few more questions from our viewers. Another viewer, Marina, asked a question. A carrier of a subpersonality who, contact will be established with, can it be located anywhere in the world? How will the relatives of the deceased person be, located and found? So actually the answer here is very simple, that there are no borders here. A person's personality can be absolutely, far apart from one another in different parts of the world, so it will be perceptible for the person, really.
Let's check one last question and we will finish. But all the questions that we don't answer, we will answer in another broadcast. So Vicky asks the question, how can you distinguish active subpersonality from conduct, for example? Let me answer. I will. Conduct is a very dangerous creature, and operator need to be able to protect himself from his thoughts. He need to be able to protect himself by this way, refusing bad thoughts. Like this, he is secure.
So, thank you, dear viewers. We will move on. Actually, there are lots and lots of questions, and they're very interesting. Maybe we will actually try to answer some of them during the next following broadcast.
Yes, I want to ask the question and make it the last. I want to finish our broadcast with this question. When you will try for the first time, I don't want to miss it. Our first official will be on 17th of February. So, join ALLATRA TV, watch our previews, and you will not miss it.
Thank you, dear viewers. If you weren't able to connect and ask a question during the live broadcast, please leave your questions in the comments and any suggestions on the comments under this video. That's it for today. Thank you very much. See you on the live broadcast on 17th of February.
Что ж, дорогие зрители, спасибо за то, что были сегодня.
So, dear viewers, thank you very much for being with us, and remember, life is the most important value. Take good care of it.